Welcome to Chris Chadwick Inline. Today I'm going to be talking about these, the Ground Patrol HD 80 frames. I'm going to start by talking through the specification of the frames. I'm going to take them out for a skate locally, and I'm going to link in some tricks at a few spots and the skate park that I rolled around on the way. Now, a disclaimer to start with, I bought these frames with my own money, so I've got no conflict of interest in providing an honest opinion of how they perform. So a little bit about the background of these. Essentially, the aim of this is to convert any aggressive skate into more of a urban or freestyle skate with a primary focus on rolling around and maybe some gaps as opposed to grinds and tricks. Although of course you could still do grinds on them, but only if you're willing to sacrifice the anodized finish. They come in two lengths. So there's the large frame that I've got here, and there's also the medium frame. The large is 270 millimeters long, whereas the medium is 240. However, they both feature the same maximum wheel size of 80 millimeters, the same 28 millimeter ride height, and the same 2.4 millimeter frame wall thickness. As you can see on this large frame, there's about a sort of 20 or 30 millimeter gap between each of the wheels, whereas the pictures I've seen of the medium frame online, the wheels are essentially as close together as they can be without actually touching. But you can choose the frame size which best suits your foot size. So if you've got a larger foot, you could choose obviously the larger frame, the smaller foot, the medium frame, but both will fit on any aggressive UFS mounted skate. The medium frame you may choose regardless of your foot size because the turning circle will be tighter, you'll be able to turn more sharply. However, the large frame will be more stable and will hold its speed a little better too. They also feature these countersunk screws. So the bolt from this side screws directly into the opposing frame wall. So you can service it with just one Allen key, and also reduces the vibration while you're skating and also the rigidity of the frame as well. They come in the anodized blue, which I've got here, and also a black and a red. I took them out on the promenade in Great Yarmouth to see how they felt. So on the roll, frames are feeling fast. These 80mm wheels accelerate really quickly actually and hold their speed nicely as well. Frames also feeling good quality. There's no clicking or rattling from the hardware, and overall just getting the impression of a really well-made, well put together product. Also feeling nice and rigid, which is one of the main things that strikes you with an aluminium frame versus a plastic one. The stiffness of the metal essentially translates into better transfer of power with each stride, meaning you can skate more efficiently and maintain your speed better without losing any of it in the flexibility of the plastic. So moving on to the first spot now, this series of curbs, good fun for a little warm up. And the frame's feeling nice and agile and absorbing the shock really well on the landings too. Carrying on down the promenade, and I'm feeling like the pairing of this frame with the Salomon is working really well, as it's quite a rigid boot, and I think choosing your boot quite carefully if you have that luxury is quite important, as I think it could feel potentially a bit disjointed maybe on a lower cut or more flexible boot. So just something to bear in mind when you're deciding which skate you're going to mount these on. When I'm turning on the frames, they're feeling manoeuvrable. They perhaps don't turn quite as sharply as something with a larger wheel, such as a 110 tri-skate, but certainly for the purpose I'm using for, it's working well. Moving into the skate park now, rolling around on some transitions. and frames fairly stable on these 80mm wheels. One of the things that struck me about rolling around in the skate park in particular is how much more stable that they feel than a larger, narrower wheel such as a 110, which can feel a bit precarious when you're doing a larger gap, and those sorts of wheels don't absorb the shock quite as well as these 80s. Turning back around now, and on this rougher ground, finding the frames are absorbing the vibrations from the cracks and bumps in the pavement well. I'm not feeling too much shock going up my legs, which is definitely contributing to the overall skating performance. So thinking the frames through, I can't find any particular negative points to criticise, to be honest. They do everything I was hoping they were going to, from feeling fast for the pleasure of rolling around, and also with wheels small enough that they enable you to do tricks as well. So overall, I'd highly recommend these frames. I certainly think for the price they are exceptionally good value, and I think they're particularly good if you're an aggressive skater who already owns a suitable UFS skate and you're looking to get into using some larger wheels. And I think this is a really good choice. So I hope you've enjoyed this review and found it informative. Consider subscribing to this channel if you've enjoyed the content and want to see more, and give this video a like if you found it helpful. So thanks very much for watching. See you next time. So it's something you might do more on your own as kind of a leisure activity. Oh, shit. Now, I bought these. Fucking hell. Fuck. What does that say? Ready to be wowed.
Oh, I get cakes and stuff like that first because you're getting annoyed with me, but I'm hungry.
Alright. Yeah. I'm getting some great B-roll here.